Good morning. All right, so let's begin. Hi, thanks for joining us for Monday morning meditation. Say hello. Let's see who's joining this morning. So today's practice is going to be that of compassion for ourselves and for others. So if you might have somebody in mind that could use a bit of your compassion from afar, call them to mind. There's a wonderful quote I love by the Dalai Lama, and he said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." In the Yoga Sutras, which basically explains how to practice the 8 limbs of yoga, Sutra in Book 1, number 33, explains 4 keys to inner peace. A serene and peaceful mind is cultivated by being friendly towards happy people, compassionate towards those who are suffering, delighted with those who are virtuous, and disengaged or undisturbed by those who are doing harm. So those are 4 main keys explained by Patanjali on how to maintain your inner peace. And one of them is compassion. There's a book club that we've started meeting for the book Nonviolent Communication. Highly recommend this. And the author, Marshall Rosenberg, PhD, talks about the need for compassion in trying to establish constructive and peaceful communication. And how compassion for others can only start from first learning how to empathize with yourself. Hey, Maricel, good morning. Join us. I'm just giving us a little introduction to the practice today. We're just going to be for about 15 minutes in total. So there is a need to intentionally practice compassion, first and foremost for ourselves, so that we're coming from a genuine cup filled in order to overflow that sense of compassion realistically to others that we want to share it with. So Pema Chodron is a wonderful mindfulness teacher. She's a Buddhist nun, and she talks about the practice of compassionate abiding. And it's basically how she describes it. It's a means of transmuting hard, reactive, rejecting energy into basic warmth and openness. It's a way of working with our negativity that appreciates that the negative energy per se is not the problem. Confusion only begins when we can't abide with the intensity of the energy and therefore spin off, being triggered, being reactive. So staying present with our own energy allows it to keep flowing and move on, because remember that it's constantly changing, it's impermanent. So abiding with our own energy is the ultimate non-aggression, as Pema Chodron says. It's the ultimate maitri, which is a Sanskrit word for loving kindness. And that is going to be the theme of our practice today. So in trying to decide what breath work to begin with, and it's just going to be a 1-minute practice of that breath work, the first thing that came to mind was a Kriya, which is a paired physical action with a breathing technique drawn from Kundalini yoga. And it has a powerful name, Ego Eradicator Kriya. And it's a wonderful way to get out of the mind, as we know that that's the place of often it causes turbulence, right? It's how the mind interprets a situation and how various people can interpret the same situation in so many ways. Some can be triggered by it. Some can feel totally neutral about it. So it's getting out of the mind and into presence. And it's a great way to just instantaneously slow down the fluctuations in the mind so that we can get into the practice of Tonglen. That's going to be our meditation practice to begin with. And then if we have time remaining, we'll also practice a loving kindness meditation, or metta meditation, as known in Buddhism. But these are all part of the yoga practice. Okay, so Ego Eradicator pose. You'll want to have a comfortable seat. If you like, you can prop your pelvis on something. I'm sitting in a chair, but you might want to put a pillow underneath so that your spine feels upright naturally and relaxed, but not rigid. And then let's begin with the breathing part of it. It's actually Kapalabhati, pranayama, which means breath of fire. It causes warmth, especially in the digestive part of the body, the belly. And it's done breathing just through your nose, so the mouth is closed. And you think of breathing into your belly like it's a balloon. So you inhale, expand it, and you exhale, pulse it inward towards the spine. And it sounds like you're blowing your nose quickly, like this. So you're focusing on the exhalations, pulsing into the belly. The inhalations are passive and they're short, quick breaths. And if you start to get lightheaded, let's say you have high or low blood pressure, then you can just slow down and take deep breaths through the nose instead. I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute of that. So that's the breathing part. The Kriya, or the physical action, is you raise your arms. Arms are straight and turned open at 60-degree angles. I don't know if you can see it all in the frame here. And then you'll want to make thumbs up pointing towards the sky with the rest of your fingers curled in like this. And you'll want to feel a stretch active between the thumb and index finger as you point the thumb straight up. Back up just a little bit so you can see. And then while doing this is the practice of Kapalabhati pranayama, breath of fire, like this. Notice you want to keep your shoulders relaxed, your spine tall, your face relaxed as you close your eyes, and steady your gaze upward towards the forehead and up between the eyebrows. And that just helps to concentrate as well. All right, so do what you can. And if you need to place your hands on your stomach instead of raising the arms so you can focus on the breath work, do what you can. So I'm going to set the timer here for 1 minute of Ego Eradicator Kriya. Ready? Arms up if you're doing that physical part, and begin. Find a rhythm that you can sustain. Almost there. Then take a deep breath in. Hold the breath in. Think of lifting your pelvic floor, contracting your lower abdomen. Hold the breath if you can a little longer. Join the thumbs to touch overhead with the eyes closed. And as you exhale through the mouth, release the arms out to your sides and gently onto your lap. Continue to relax your shoulders back and down so your heart space feels broad and slightly lifted. And you might continue into our meditation practice with your eyes closed if that helps you to eliminate visual distractions. Otherwise, you could stare at a spot just in front of you, downward slightly so your chin is just a natural distance from your chest. And let it be a partial eyes closed, a soft gaze. So whatever you're choosing to do with your eyes, bring your awareness to your body and what is physically supporting it. Feel the surface of the object that you're sitting on as you gently press into it. Feel the rise of your spine naturally. And soften your attention onto your breath, just as you naturally breathe. And in the qualities of your breath, whether it's deep, shallow, fast, or slow, just simply be aware of perhaps how that informs you of your mind state and your emotional and energetic states. Tonglen practice takes compassionate abiding, as I spoke about, one step further. And as you continue to breathe naturally, I invite you to call to mind any feeling of discomfort or negativity, something you deem negative, that you want to focus this practice on. And if you can't call anything to mind, that's okay. Just bring your attention to your breath. So in the Tonglen practice, it's a way of loosening the grip towards a feeling that perhaps we have an aversion to. Maybe it's uncomfortable and we don't want to feel it, or we want to deny it or distract ourselves with something else. And just like compassionate abiding, it's leaning into whatever that feeling is, so that as you breathe in naturally, you're taking in what that feeling is like, the qualities of it. And as you're breathing out, you're sending out any feelings that you might instead grasp for or cling to perhaps numb the feeling of discomfort. So again, as you breathe in naturally, bring open awareness to that feeling that is uncomfortable. And as you breathe out naturally, consciously send out the feelings you might reach for to mute it. Continuing this practice just for another couple of minutes. As you feel the breath rise, just bring your awareness back to your physical body here. Exhale through the lips and feel your breath out. So now we're going to transition the same practice of Tonglen for another being. So I invite you to call to mind somebody that you know that might be suffering right now. Any kind of suffering, whether it be physical ailment, emotional disturbance, mental unrest. And maybe it's somebody that is close to you or not so close to you. Maybe it's somebody you saw on the news. And maybe it's a group of people who have been suffering socially. So as you call to mind that being or that group of people, let's come back to the practice of Tonglen. So again, you might close your eyes or partially close them, or you can soften your gaze slightly downward. And whatever allows you to just be less distracted by the external environment or by thoughts pulling you out of this present moment. And as you settle back in, feel your breath naturally flowing again. And this is just going to be a couple minutes of practice. So I invite you, if it helps, to envision the person, the being, maybe it's an animal, or the group of people whom you are offering your compassion practice for. And now as you call them to mind, as you breathe in naturally, now this is not going to be easy, but I invite you to feel with them in their suffering. Remember that empathy is the practice of feeling with someone. So it might entail conjuring up your own personal experiences that might parallel to theirs. And as you breathe out, send your own resource of goodness to that being or that group of people. Whether it be peace, peace of mind, peace of heart, whether it be vitality, physical health and well-being, whether it be good karma, something that you are willing to share with them and hoping that they experience from afar. So again, as you breathe in naturally, you're sharing in the suffering of the being that you chose. And as you breathe out naturally, you're sending out your personal goodness, your resource to that being. And we'll try this for 2 minutes. Again, allow a deeper breath to uplift your heart center at the middle of your chest. Opening your lips, whisper the breath more audibly. So, how do you feel at the end of this practice? I would love to hear your feedback. Because I don't want to keep you more than the time allotment of 15 minutes that I promised, I'm going to save the loving kindness meditation for next Monday at 11 a.m. So there's your cliffhanger. Hopefully you'll come back on Monday next week to join me here for a continuation of this compassion practice. And I'm going to save a recording. It'll also be posted on our YouTube channel. which you can always private message me if you don't have the links for any of that, so that you can practice on your own if you found this useful. Or if you think anybody else could benefit from it, please spread the love. I think we could all use some self-compassion and compassion for each other. And so much change going on, big change going on in our world. So thank you, Tom. Thank you, Kathleen, Nelson, Maricel, Buddy Boy. I'm not sure who that is. Thank you for joining me this morning. Have a great week ahead. Namaste. Oh, P.S. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. here on Facebook Live too, I'm going to be sharing the 108 Sun Salutations with you from Griffith Park. So if you're not joining us in person and you want to join us live, make sure that you have ready a large sheet of paper, a pen, your yoga mat. Get ready to move your body, whether it's 108 or whatever number of Sun Salutations you're dedicating your intentions for as we enter the fall season. So come join us. See you soon. Bye-bye.